Hello guys, and welcome back to another video on the JDT15 channel. In today's video, we're going to cover update 8.1, as well as dive into the recent Easter disaster of the broken tournament mode and the Tokachi black market issue, both of which have sparked a lot of frustration within the community, especially on NA. I delayed this video because I anticipated some issues would arise from what should have been a great new era in Blitz history, but unfortunately, it's being overshadowed by many problems. One of the significant changes is the single realm matchmaker. Instead of separate matchmaking pools for each server, all regions now share one combined pool. Your server is still prioritized, but if the queue takes too long, players are pulled from other servers to fill matches. The goal is to shorten queue times, reduce bot matches, and create fairer games. Originally, when this was announced, I was a bit skeptical, especially about how laggy games might become. However, from what I've experienced so far while recording my next gameplay video, it's still very smooth. Another thing I've noticed is that the bot issue is no longer as prevalent. All my matches, even during non-Asia server prime time, have been completely filled. I'm having much more fun playing against real players only. It's much more challenging and engaging than just shooting at bots all game. However, the main issue with the single realm matchmaking currently, and something many other players and I have noticed, is that team balancing is worse. And I don't mean ship balancing, because from what I've seen, that's about the same as previously. I mean player balancing. I don't know what's causing it, but about a third of games have one team full of potatoes and the other full of solid players. Obviously, compared to shorter wait times and no bots, the poor player matchmaking is outweighed, but it's still definitely something that needs addressing. Possibly adding a new checklist for the matchmaker that considers player stats could help, making sure each team has a balanced mix of skill levels. One other thing I want too is the ability to friend and therefore play with people from other servers. I don't know how hard this would be to implement, but it is now entirely possible with one matchmaking pool. But still, a great change overall. Well done, Wargaming. Superships are back again. Maelstrom brings all previously released superships into active rotation. Having them all available at once allows data gathering and community feedback to help shape their long-term balance. Wargaming will be tracking pick rates and player responses closely, with ships that overperform or underperform likely to be adjusted in future updates. We'll talk about Edgar later in the video, but it's good to know they recognize how broken it currently is. Oh boy, Pan American battleships are here. The ships in this new tech tree line are strung up close, with powerful main guns and fast-firing automatic secondaries. Their main downside is their torpedo protection, which isn't great. They do feature a special combat instruction. After dealing enough damage, your secondaries get better range, fire faster, and hit more accurately, which is great for brawling. Obviously, we still don't know much about them yet, but all I can say is please be balanced unlike PC and not broken like pre-nerf Atlantico. Another standout feature is the torpedo switching mechanic introduced with the new destroyer Mangumo. For the first time, players can switch between two types of torpedoes mid-battle. One faster, stealthier but lower damage, and one with shorter range but higher damage. This adds an extra layer of tactical depth to destroyer gameplay, as ships with this mechanic become more versatile and effective in different scenarios. Update 8.1 also brings in more premium ships. Wangumo is the headliner thanks to its new torpedo system. From what we've seen, including in the recent community stream, it looks like a Yaguma with the new mechanic. Yaguma isn't the greatest ship, but we'll have to wait and see. Sydney, a Tier 7 Commonwealth cruiser, joins the Blitz Pass in June, and is a modernized version of Perth. Depending on other rewards, I might finally buy again with this Blitz Pass. However, I'm really disappointed that you chose Harold Farco over John Collins or Joseph Burnett, both of whom actually commanded Sydney, for the new Blitz Pass commander. And I know it will be Farco because he's the only new Australian commander listed. Prince of Wales, a Tier 8 British battleship, features crawling smoke and heavy repair team. She's basically a tier up KGV with bad maneuverability and will release in the May Blitz Pass. Atago is a long-awaited Japanese cruiser, a premium version of the Tokachi, and will be able to dish out a lot of damage quickly. Svea, a Tier 10 European cruiser, is a solid support ship. She has good maneuverability, smoke screens, and great surface detection. Compared to similar ships like the San Martin, Svea is less powerful in raw firepower, but is extremely flexible. For more info, check out Soulfire's video on her. We're also getting the Commissar, a Soviet hybrid cruiser with bombers and torpedoes. Details are still vague, but it looks like an interesting long-range ship. Then there's Black Nebraska, which is just a reskin of Nebraska. I don't see the point of her. 3 ships are getting new legendary modules. Goliath receives buffs to range and reload at the cost of increased detectability. Marseille gains better dispersion, but loses turret traverse and survivability. Louisiana's module focuses on aircraft performance with decreased prep time for all aircraft, and this one has no downsides. Balance changes are extensive, and they're either really good or really bad this time. Firstly, though, removing secondary guns on Tier 2 cruisers? Why? Doesn't even matter. You might see Gdansk and think, oh, it's getting nerfed with 1000 HP loss. No, this is a buff. Look at the concealment. The main downside to Gdansk was concealment, and now it's basically gone. Best tier 10 destroyer in the game just got better. Like, bruh. German destroyers are getting some good buffs. I feel like they've been forgotten. Even myself, I'm still at Z23 2 years later. I went back and played her yesterday, and the buff is noticeable, but not massive. Just enough. American aircraft carrier buffs. What? Why? These are massive, especially accuracy buffs for dive bombers, making point and click gameplay even more rewarding. All surface ships just became slightly less playable. Once again, though, I'm happy. Italian cruisers, long neglected, finally got some love they needed. Venezia, Brindisi, and Superior all received reload and dispersion buffs. I'm grinding this line, and I'm very pleased. British light cruisers like Fiji, Edinburgh, and Neptune got major concealment and torpedo improvements. These changes helped them stand up to their premium alternatives. But the real head scratcher was the Minotaur buff. It now has the best concealment for tier 10 cruisers and better torpedoes. Ask anyone and they'll be just as confused as I am. Soviet cruisers like Talon and Riga received rapid reload and survivability upgrades. Riga's still lagging, but these are some solid first steps. The Spanish cruiser line, 1 year after release, finally got the buffs it needed. Burst reloads, concealment, AA, and especially improved armor for tier 9 and 10. Other minor changes include Dutch cruisers got a small range buff, oddly premium German destroyers Z-35, ZF-6, and Z-44 all got buffs along with their previously mentioned tech tree counterparts, so they're a fair bit better now. Blucher, already strong, got a reload and concealment buff. Turpus and Ignis got small but meaningful improvements like better torps and turret traverse. Lastly, Bourgogne got a dispersion buff, though I don't think it really needed one. Now, Edgar. Yes, they listened and nerfed it. Is it enough? Probably not. Burst fire reload time has increased and concealment worsened. The burst fire itself hasn't changed, and still has smoke 3 and radar 3. Possible fixes for next update could include changing radar to 2 or reducing the number of uses. I still think it should keep Raider since it's a Minotaur, but the Burst Fire's penetration needs a nerf. Some other small changes in this update include the comparison window now stores up to 6 ships, up from only 2. Ships featuring deep water torpedoes will now display an icon when entering battle. Probably my favorite little change, ship XP is now displayed in silver grey, while free XP appears in gold, right beneath each researchable ship. This allows you to check progress without having to click on ships. Additional damage control kit specialty now gives 4 damage control kits per battle and minus 25% fire and flooding duration. Now to the disappointing part of the video. The Easter event had the potential to be awesome, but was deeply flawed in execution. The tournament mode is a great idea, but the rewards were terrible, especially for casual players, and there was little incentive to play unless you were aiming for Sphere. Personally, I knew I wouldn't have the time to grind for Sphere. Even if I did play, none of the lower level rewards were enticing. I'm also not the greatest player, and probably would have lost a match or two. Much of what I'll say here echoes Soulfire's video, because I agree with his suggestions. First, the choice of Tier 8 was questionable. Matches were flooded with Atlanticos and Carriers. A Tier 6 or 7 tournament, with class restrictions, would be much healthier and more accessible. As Soulfire suggested, a tiered reward system could help. Let players choose between a 5 level, 7 level, or 10 level path, each with different rewards. This gives casual players, or those who can't grind massive events, a fair shot. Players could choose one path at a time, which resets when completed, or after too many losses. I also think, like in the Blitz Pass, there should be a choice of ships, or even commanders, as rewards, to further entice participation. The big frustration with the tournament was matchmaking. Players with 7 or more wins waited hours without a match. What infuriated me, and the community, was wargaming silence. I know Matty was away, but there are other wargaming staff who could have made a statement. Even if they were struggling with a hotfix, they should have let us know they were aware and working on it. It took until Thursday to get a response. So, how do we fix this? First, testing. I know I don't know what they tested, but many of these issues, including past ones, clearly stem from poor or limited testing. Bring in CCs and super testers to test events pre-release. A fresh set of eyes helps. We don't mind if an event is delayed by a week or two, as long as it works. Second, communication. It has improved, especially with the community stream, which is a great initiative that I'm glad is continuing. But you need to inform the community within a day of becoming aware of issues. That builds trust. Even without a solution, let us know. Lastly, compensation. Yes, Wargaming gave Sphere to players who got 9 wins, but their excuse about long-term sustainability and balance of the economy when it comes to players with less wins holds no weight when they cause the problem. Players who waited hours in queues, potentially on their way to Sphere, now get nothing. Even if they wouldn't have made it, they never got the chance. If a player has proof of long queues from 7 wins and up, they must be compensated with a Sphere. With Respect Wargaming, this compensation just doesn't cut it. Finally, on the Asia and EU servers, Tokachi was mistakenly listed for just 35 gold, a pricing error snapped up by thousands of players. By the time it hit NA, the error was fixed. That's not okay. Many NA players were excited for a free Tokachi, but that excitement was crushed when the mistake was corrected. You can't change things for one server. I was especially annoyed because I knew I'd missed the Asia black market, but I planned to buy it on NA. NA players and myself are furious. It's also unacceptable that fixing this took priority over fixing tournament matchmaking. And again, Wargaming said nothing. Players were left wondering why a pricing mistake got instant action, but a broken event with hour-long queues didn't. That's what hurts. The silence. Also, there was no point fixing it. 5,000 sales at 35 gold equals 35 sales at 5,000 gold. This would have made players happy and ensured full sales, as shown by only 6 total purchases on NA. The only problem that there would have been with not fixing it is the abundance of Tokachis in matches for a while. To fix this black market issue, Wargaming must make 4,994 more Tokachi purchases available on NA, priced at 35 gold. This special offer must be announced days in advance with a specific time, and the 6 players who already bought it must be refunded 4,965 gold. So overall, Update 8.1 brought some great changes to Blitz, like single rail matchmaking. But at the same time, it was overshadowed by major flaws in event execution, communication, and fairness across servers. The tournament issues and the Tokachi black market debacle have further damaged trust in Wargame's ability to manage the game smoothly, especially from an NA perspective. There's still a lot to be excited about moving forward, but Wargaming needs to listen more closely to the community, test events properly before release, and communicate issues faster and more transparently. Compensation also needs to be fair, especially when problems are on their end, not the players. Blitz has the potential to be better than ever now, but only if the lessons from this Easter debacle are actually learned. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. JAT15, out.